applause to our dance troupe and to our line leader, Mrs. Gina Grant.
Good evening, everyone. We're really delighted to welcome you to UBC St. John College's Prosperity Lunar New Year Dinner. My name is Catherine, and I am a resident and master's student in journalism, and together with Tala here, who is also a resident and master's student in computer engineering, we will be your MCs for tonight. First and foremost, we would like to acknowledge that the college resides on, and we are gathered today on the traditional, ancestral, and unceded territory of the Musqueam people.
We would like to thank many of our alumni here: Fabricio, Derek, Fiona, Marina, Tarane, Yasmin, Mohammed, Jingshin, Stan, Manu, our staff, and our special guests, Mrs. Gina Grant and Elder Larry Grant, and our Ingram speaker, Alice Tepunga Somerville, and her husband and daughter, for joining us in this lovely evening. I would now like to invite Elder Larry Grant to the podium for a Musqueam welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for that invitation. Did we enjoy that?
Yes.
Yes. He is the health Shilano. Same thing. It's a Happy New Year in our language. But something that's quite, I always thought the line dance was noisy also, but we used to see it outside all the time in Chinatown. So it's quite different from hearing it inside a small area like this where they have to really work to move around. So siya to siya saya Musqueam y tenita Musqueam lahat sa siyawanan ke Banano ke Kotimo to Pastilo to the Kuna imig natin Pashwi to sa Tamo Musqueam is the Akwana siyawanan ke Banano sa to Santandi to follow the hill of Stala. Tumukala, the question of Tetiman House Shilana. So it's really, really good to be here on this day celebrating Chinese New Year. It's very significant to my family also, because our father comes from Semun village in Guangdong province, Zhongshan County, and was always bringing us to Chinatown on Chinese New Year, where it was not only the symbols, but about 2 blocks of firecrackers that hung from the balconies of Chinatown, and it was like you were in a battlefield after, because of the black smoke from the black powder was all over Chinatown. It was literally red with firecrackers. That was quite something. So our ancestor Capilano was here to greet the first people to arrive off the shores of Point Grey here. The Spanish under Captain Narvaez and the English under Captain George Vancouver. And as our ancestor had done in the past, I do this evening raise my hands and welcome to everyone that's gathered here this evening to celebrate the Lunar New Year. And it's really significant because around this time, the herring began to show up. And that's the first run of fish that comes in, is the herring. And our people would be out there gathering the herring, raking the herring into the canoes, and that was fresh fish coming in. And it was a big difference between surviving and living on dried salmon and other dried foods that were preserved for the winter months. And this time of year, the herring signified the start of a new season, a new cycle. And at the time, we did not use the word year because we didn't have a calendar, and we didn't have months of the year or days of the years. We had the times of harvest. And we're now moving into Tumsamech, and that's the time of the herring spawn. So that's really, really a signal that the new year's starting, and it's time to prepare for the first runs of salmon that are coming in a few short months, getting all the fishing equipment prepared, canoes prepared, out of storage, wherever they stored them, I have no idea. And that's the part of the new year, but they didn't have celebration as the Europeans do or the Chinese do. They're not having, as far as I understand, never having a calendar or recognizing it as a new year, but it was a new beginning, a new season happening again. So I would just like to pass that on to you and say again to all of you that are gathered here, welcome. Welcome to the traditional unceded ancestral lands of the Hansanido-speaking Musqueam people. Kalekwansitiatala, Taswala, Kagepshwa Iti, Chinakuran, Zepewasiam, Monsieur. Thank you. Much.
Elder Grant for welcoming us. We're excited to be here this evening to celebrate the Lunar New Year, the Year of the Rabbit, which is a celebration of the arrival of spring and the beginning of a new year on the lunar solar calendar and all the new life that will soon blossom. So it's a holiday that has been celebrated for over thousands of years and is currently celebrated by over 1 billion people across the world, many in East and Southeast Asia, which includes China, Korea, Malaysia, Indonesia, Singapore, Brunei, and Vietnam, and by those who are overseas as well, which mirrors the diversity of our college. So the rabbit is the symbol of longevity, peace, and prosperity in Chinese culture, and so 2023 is predicted to be a year of hope. While the Lunar New Year is a time of traditions and beliefs, the most important aspect of celebrating the holiday is doing what we're doing today, which is having a great time with friends and family.
Just a side note for everyone, the door slip prizes that were left in everyone's mailboxes earlier today, just make sure to fill it because we will be coming around with a red box for you to drop it in. If any of the alumni didn't receive it, please come to us and we'll give you one.
Thank you, Tala. And now, please join us in welcoming Professor Dr. Henry Yu, who is a principal of St. John's College, who will share a few words.
Thank you, Catherine. Thank you, Tala. I just want to acknowledge our alumni who are joining us here at our table, as well as online. So we've been working, because of COVID, remotely, and now that hopefully COVID is starting to be less of an issue in our lives, we've kept the live streaming. So welcome to all those, and we can give a wave. So everybody can give a wave to the alumni who are joining us online. Thanks.
Sure.
Thanks. So I'm glad they're joining us online because one of the aspects, I'm just going to admit it, I actually really don't like the line dance. My kids don't either. When I was young, it was loud, noisy, scary. The firecrackers would go off, so it's really made a deep impression in my life, so I still don't like it. So for you, I will put up with it. And so, but one of the things about the New Year's is just to actually build on what Elder Grant said. It's not about the year. So it's actually, the name is a spring festival. We call it in Chinese a spring festival. That's why I'm wearing blue, because it's like, blue is sort of like a hope that it's going to get warmer and spring will come. So as with the herring season, the moment of renewal, when you would go to a next year with a new animal, it's about renewal and turnover. Right? So now, the next year. So one of the things that often, for those of you who know, is that you are supposed to visit people that matter. So gather, but there's a specific reason. I don't know, you're not supposed to go into debt. If you have a debt, you're not supposed to take it into the new year. Now that can mean, like, if you are running a company, you have to send your dividends out to your shareholders, especially if they're family. But it also means that if someone did something for you over the previous year, was kind, helped you, you have to go acknowledge and pay your debts, if that makes sense. So it's about relationships. It's renewing, in some sense, that someone still means something to you. And that's why the reunion moment of this spring festival is so important. That you should not go into the new year in debt to someone or not acknowledging the debt you owe to that person. And so I raise this because it's one of the ways to, again, we've gotten used to the red envelopes. It's almost like the Santa Claus Christmasization of rituals, such as the Spring Festival. It's become very commercial. You can buy things and give things. You can get the mooncakes. But I'm encouraging also to think behind rituals in the way that Elder Larry Grant raised, that there was agricultural seasons, that spring was a time of renewal, but also the meaning of the relationships that were being celebrated. It's not just Chinese, and it's been pointed out, thank you, Catherine. This is actually not the year of the rabbit if you're Vietnamese, it's the year of the cat. And so those who want to celebrate those who are cat lovers and don't really care for rabbits, this is your year. It's the one zodiac animal that differs between Vietnamese and those who are Chinese and others who celebrate it as the year of the rabbit. So again, I want to raise that because there are other Lunar New Years. There are other Lunar New Year celebrations that don't cluster around this moment. So if you celebrate a Persian New Year, it's a different Lunar New Year that you'll be celebrating. So we're together here at St. John's to celebrate Lunar New Year's. This one is a particular Lunar New Year. We celebrate too because when I was growing up, I didn't get birthday presents. And that may seem like my parents were abusive or cruel. It's because you celebrate your birth along with everyone else at Spring Festival. It's not like some day, March 12th, at 3 p.m. that I was born, and we're going to all celebrate that individual act of being born. You can apologize to your mother for the pain you put her through at 3 p.m. on March 12th or whatever, but we are all getting 1 year older. So again, you can think that right now we celebrate that we're all going to be rolling over and renewing 1 year older. And your individual birthday, okay, you can celebrate it, but this is the time to actually celebrate collectively, all of us getting older. And that leads me to some other acknowledgements, which is I want to acknowledge and thank Gina Grant for joining us. It's her birthday. She was actually born on this day, February 1st, 73 years ago. And so we want to thank her for gracing us with the choice of spending tonight with us. I don't know, are there any other birthdays today out there? So, Gina, this is your day with us. I'm going to come back to in a couple moments. But I also want to thank and acknowledge our guests, special guests tonight. So our alumni, but also Alice, who, again, thank you for being the Ingram speaker this year and joining us. Stan Manu, for those who don't know, Stan was here 20 years ago, living here as you are. So he's one of our, I don't want to call you an older alumni, but one of our early alumni. So thank you for coming back. And I also want to say again, thank you to Stan, because it's his mother who gifted us with the tapa cloth that you'll see in the alumni hall, as well as every day when you come in here, for breakfast and dinner, the world around our table. So thank you again to her, and we pass our good wishes on to her. I want to now give something to Gina, which acknowledges the over a decade that you and Larry have come to our dinners, to our events. We had a tree that was planted, several trees that were planted when we were founded 25 years ago. And those who recall, it got blown down during that windstorm. And so, in order to actually mark the strange coincidence that it would fall over on our 25th anniversary, it must have been some kind of sign, we cut the wood into some slices. And so, thanks to Stacy, we have a little gift that is an acknowledgement of all the time you've spent, the times you have brought salmon and food and shared with our residents, that we have a piece of that tree to acknowledge its presence, and it's gracing us with its presence for 25 years. And even though it won't be here anymore with us, we want to pass a piece of that tree on to you as acknowledgement that you are always welcome here. You're always a lifetime fellow here, and that you always have a place, a seat around our table. So thank you, Gina. Okay, Stacy, okay. So this is from the tree that fell, and you can see it says SJC 25, established 1997, and Gina Grant, lifetime fellow of SJC. So, thank you. I'm going to stay here and give it to you. So as part of that as well, and this has, we welcomed a number of visitors a couple of days ago from Pacific Islands around what is the South and West Pacific, from Fiji, from the Solomon Islands, from Papua New Guinea. And so you will see them at breakfast and dinner. So I'll send a note out to just introduce who they are and why they're here. They're all expert navigators, open ocean navigators, who are reviving the knowledge of how to canoe. I'm a historian. One of the greatest accomplishments in human history is the great ocean voyages that the navigators of the Pacific Islands made over 1,000 of years across open ocean. It's easy to walk off across land out from Africa. To cross those large, a third of our planet is the open ocean in the Pacific. And so for me, it's an honor to have them here to share their knowledge of the sea and seafaring and the ways that have been passed down to them over generations. So when you see them in the morning, they won't be here as often for dinner because they're here for a conference on oceans and the impact of climate change on oceans, on their islands, their home. And so if you see them, please do welcome them, give them a warm welcome to St. John's. When they leave, we've asked that they leave a flag to mark their presence among us. And so you'll see some of the flags that they will share with us, not yet, by the next formal dinner they'll be up. But one of the things, as I was talking to them, they got here, a couple of them, in the middle of the night, and they saw the boats. They saw the canoes that are overhead. And so they felt very much at home as they came in, and it was very cold. It was -5, I believe, that night when they came in. So I raised this because one of the things that they noted about this place is that sense of welcome and that sense of you're all coming together over food. And so, again, my thanks in anticipation for welcoming them and showing them that this is home away from home for them as well as for you. So, let's eat. This is the way to celebrate together.
So we're now excited to announce that it is time for dinner, and we just want to say a special thank you to Chef Clarence Tay and his staff for preparing such an amazing menu. So if we can just give them a round of applause. Thank you. And so please wait until your table has been tapped to then line up for the buffet.